Good evening. Brenda and I are coming to you from Woodburn, Oregon, the small town of Woodburn, Oregon. We're going to do a little departure from our normal videos. Instead of walking through the forest, instead of taking a little forest hike, we're going to be taking a little city hike through the streets of good old Woodburn, Oregon. And I'm just going to talk a little bit in the beginning, and we're going to walk around the old town. This is Old Town Woodburn. And then I'm going to finish up with a walk down the main street of Old Town where all the little shops are. But it's a little bit more quiet down here in the residential part of Old Town, so I figured I'd start here. But you know, we've had a few new developments. Brenda and I actually just relocated to this town from Southern California, and so we're going to be making Woodburn, Oregon our home, at least for the next year. So I'm excited about it. I love being up here in the Pacific Northwest, and Woodburn, Oregon is a nice little town. You know, it's a nice, quiet, for the most part, quiet, idyllic little town. Even though there's a fair bit of traffic going on right now, it's just before 6 p.m. So I guess this is their rush hour. I apologize if this video is a little choppy. It's kind of hard to talk and walk and video and hold on to Brenda and navigate at the same time. So it might be a little herky-jerky, but I just wanted to do a quick little walk through this town. You know, I still haven't explored everything that there is to see here. You know, like I said, this is the older part of town, and where Brenda and I are going to be living, we're actually living, I guess it would be considered the newer part of town. It's east of the 5 freeway, a little bit further east of the 5 freeway, and then we're on the opposite side here. But I actually like this part of town a lot better. And as you can see, it's a very bucolic, quiet, green neighborhood, lots of trees. You know, it's like walking in the forest, even though you're in the middle of a town. A lot of tree cover, a lot of greenery. There's walnut trees all over the place. There's, you know, people have nice, big, beautiful walnut trees in their yards. Some people have apple trees, and it's just a very welcoming, peaceful sort of an environment, and I'm loving it so far. Yeah, but you know, it was a recent turn of events. You know, we didn't know we were going to be living up here until relatively recently, so it was a pleasant surprise. Brenda and I have a nice little studio apartment actually in these nice apartment homes in Woodburn, and like I said, we're going to be here for at least a year, and we'll see what happens. But until then, I'm going to be making a few videos here and there, not only of Woodburn, but of, you know, various places in the Pacific Northwest. I happen to love the Pacific Northwest. It's so beautiful and it's so pristine. There's so much nature here. It's, you know, there's rivers and lakes and trees and forests galore, and just a really nice place to be, you know. And I love these old homes. You know, Woodburn has quite a few of these old style homes, which I absolutely love. It's very unlike Southern California, where most of the construction is new construction. It's, you know, it's cookie cutter. It's pretty basic, and just all the neighborhoods pretty much look the same, you know. Whereas up here, you have a lot of the old school neighborhoods that have a lot of charm and a lot of character. I mean, look at these nice lots. You know, nice big lot, nice huge tree in your front yard, and it's, you know, it's so nice. It's disarming. Walking around the streets here, it's really disarming, and it's peaceful. It's quiet, you know, other than the few cars driving by, obviously. And like I said, I'm gonna finish the video with just a quick walk up Front Street. And Front Street is where all the little markets are. It's kind of a neat little area. There's people outside selling food, and there's usually food vendors out front. So I'll just kind of finish up with a quick little walk through there. I may not even speak while I'm walking. I may just give you a quiet video. But I will add, you know, just to give you a little geographical background, Woodburn is basically, it's about 30 miles south of Portland, Oregon, and it's about 15 15-20 miles north of Salem, Oregon. So it's pretty well situated in the Willamette Valley. You know, it's definitely within easy driving distance of both Portland and Salem, you know, so it's in a nice location. You know, the town itself is about 27,000 people, you know, so it's not a very large town, but it's very diverse. Woodburn is unique because it has the designation actually of being one of the most diverse small cities in Oregon, with a Latino population of about 60%. And that's actually pretty rare for Oregon. You know, Oregon's a pretty lily white state. So to have a town, city with, you know, such diversity is fairly unusual for here. You know, there's also quite a few Guatemalan people here. And believe it or not, there's a fair number of Slavic people, both people from Russia, the former Soviet Union, and various Slavic countries. There's quite a few people from Eastern Europe here. You know, so the diversity is actually pretty interesting. The Russian population, there's about, I think the latest number I was able to see was something like there's like 10,000 Old Believers here. Old Believers were part of the Russian Orthodox Church going way back from like the mid 1600s. There was a reformation going on within the Russian Orthodox Church, and the Old Believers were a sect that basically split off from the main Russian Orthodox Church because they didn't agree with the reformations that were going on. I guess they were changing some of the ceremonies and some of the worshiping rituals within the church. So the Old Believers broke off, and they eventually ended up emigrating to various places. Some of them went to China, some of them went to other areas in Europe, and then many of them came out to the US. And believe it or not, a fair number of them came to the Willamette Valley here, and they ended up settling in Woodburn. So there's a fair number of Old Believers here of Russian lineage. And people go all out for Halloween here, as you can see. They're getting ready for the spooky season. They have all their decorations out here, so this is kind of cool. You know, it makes it seem much more festive. And fall has definitely arrived to Woodburn, as you can see. You know, look at this beautiful leaf color. Beautiful coloring. Absolutely love it. And the Latino population here in Woodburn basically goes back to the 1960s, or actually I should say to the 1940s, when they had the Bracero program going on during World War II. The Bracero program would bring agricultural workers from Mexico up into, you know, the United States to work on the various farms in different areas. And that's when a lot of the Latino individuals came up to this part of the Willamette Valley, and then they ended up staying, some of them, and then they ended up, you know, settling down and starting families, and basically took off from there. And Woodburn actually has a fairly famous alumni originating from this town by the name of Stacy Allison. I just actually learned of Stacy recently. She was actually the first female to make it to the top of Mount Everest, believe it or not, and she did that back in the late 1980s. Stacy Allison. She was from Woodburn. She was born and raised in Woodburn. She graduated from Woodburn High School, went to Oregon State University, and then she ended up basically becoming quite the proficient mountaineer. Stacy Allison. All right, we're gonna go walk up and down Front Street right now, and Front Street is one of the main drags here in Old Woodburn, and that's where all the little shops are and the restaurants and the street vendors. It's kind of a neat little area, so I'm just gonna do a quick little walk through there. Come on, go.